ADAC TCR Germany is back on track at the Nürburgring, the sprint circuit configuration of the Nürburgring layout in use today for this, the fourth round of the ADAC TCR Germany. We've had some great racing so far already this year at Oschersleben and on our Austrian excursion to the Red Bull Ring and then the Salzburg Ring. But we are now on German soil through to the end of the season on the 22nd and 23rd of October at Hockenheim, starting with the famous Nürburgring circuit, of course. We see here the starting order for this race. It is going to be Martin Andersson on pole position, Simon Ladniak in second, Karklis and Bachmann third and fourth. Fifth place, Patrick Singh. Sixth place is the new entry, the 46 car of Butti as well, the Italian racer joining in the Audi. As you can see, the formation lap is already at its end. We've joined the action just as it's about to get into swing. It's going to be an exciting race, no doubt, once again from the ADAC TCR Germany. It will be half an hour of racing, and let's see whether or not Andersson can extend his points advantage over Jessica Bachmann in this one. She starts from fourth place only, so keep an eye on that Honda on the right side of screen. That is Andersson. That is the championship leader. They are underway. It's the Engster Hondas in the lead of the race, then Andersson and Ladniak is firmly covered by Andersson as they run down towards the first corner, but that may have allowed Karklis through, potentially into the lead. He's trying to go all the way around the outside. He can't quite do it, but I think second place is going to go to Jonas Karklis there. Karklis having to defend hard, but yes, he is through into second place. Bachmann there in fourth place in the first of the Velosters, the Hyundai Veloster and the Hyundai i30N out there on circuit. Rademacher side by side further back with another of the Hyundais. That was Patrick Singh, but the order as they cross the line for the first sector will be Andersson in the lead, Karklis in second, and look at this huge gaggle of cars headed by Patrick Singh. Some contact there as Roland Hurtner tried to get up the inside of the 22 of Robin Jarre. That didn't quite work. So they all start to go single file now, but for the first sector or so of the lap, that was a massive scrum from sixth place back. Everyone trying to find room where perhaps there wasn't an overwhelming amount of it. Thankfully, all parties are okay after that one. And we see them now bouncing over the curbs at 9 and 10. That's what touring cars are built for. No bouncing over sausage curbs. And I'm sure we'll see lots of that over the course of this half-hour race. Andersson it is, though, that leads in the early going. There is the 46 car that we have alluded to, the Elite Motorsports entered car, the Audi RS3, which has been a very potent machine in TCR competition around the world. Great to have another one of them in. We've got 3 Audis this weekend as a result of the addition of the 46 car. Karklis will be delighted to have got himself between the two Engstler Honda Civics in the early stages here. Let's see if he can hold on to that second place and potentially challenge Andersson. Bachmann under a lot of pressure from that 46 car from Marco Butti. And trying to go around the outside there is the number 8. That's Rene Kirscher trying to find a way around Patrick Singh. They've got equal machinery. They're both in Hyundai i30Ns, so neither man will be able to blame the tools. Butti there trying to line himself up nicely out of T7 for a good run up towards the chicane, the Vidal chicane, where so much action happens here at the Nürburgring sprint circuit. He's got the slipstream from the back of Bachmann's car and not quite able to find a way by on that occasion. Bouncing over the curbs they go. Disregard for spines all round in the TCR Germany paddock, clearly. And Andersson it is who leads the way now on lap 3 of the race that he'll be starting now. Let's see if Karklis can challenge. He did look like he was falling into the clutches of Ladniak a little bit. Ladniak, who is leading the junior class. And up the inside there goes Booty, trying to find a way around Jessica Backman, but can't quite do it. Trying to get to the outside at turn 2. That's very, very tricky going. But he's now cutting to the inside. He's got a great run out of turn 2 towards turn 3. Still can't quite get to the inside of Jessica Backman's 26 Hyundai. Good effort here from the driver who has previously been a regular in TCR Europe. Now here in ADAC TCR Germany as well. Lock up there from Backman. Is that the opportunity needed for Booty? Not quite sure he's going to get there. They're still side by side as they run to turn 6. The outside line never favourable there, and he has to give up for at least another corner or 2. And of course, as these pair scrap, it brings Patrick Singh and the rest of the cast of a 3-car Hyundai battle for 6th right up into the battle for 4th. So we are going to have quite a major battle pack soon if Backman and Booty continue to scrap in this manner. The 46 not quite late enough on the brakes on that occasion in the Audi. Booty trying to get to the outside of turn 9. That would grant you the inside in theory for turn 10, the second part of the Vidal chicane, but it wasn't quite to be on that occasion. You see them running out of the last turn. Fairly aggressive use of the outside curbs there. And here we see, again, Booty trying to look to the inside. Of course, Backman is second in the championship at this stage, just 8 points back from Martin Anderson. So Anderson would be really delighted to not only take a race win, but to do so without Backman on the podium would mean a major points haul in his favour. Still a long way to go, of course, but it's rather looking like Backman's going to have to fight hard to retain 4th place, more so than challenge for the podium, because you see there Ladniak has been getting away from the Hyundai driver, and she's coming under increasing threat from the Audi and the rest of the pack in this fabulous scrap for 4th position. The standings in the points coming into this one was 164 points for Anderson, 156 for Jessica Backman. Simon Ladniak third in the points on 137. Jonas Karklis on 95 and Rene Kirscher on 81. So it was looking like something of a 2.5 horse race. Simon Ladniak not too far back. Anderson and Backman fighting for the championship. However, Backman just doesn't seem to have quite hooked the car up here for the Nürburgring sprint circuit that we are using, this 3.6 kilometre layout. Watching the free practice and qualifying sessions, she wasn't quite where we expected her to be. We expect great things out of the driver who has had a great many successes in numerous categories, of course racing for ADAC Motorsport as well. And that's a team that has piloted, or rather had some successful pilots under the umbrella, and she has been a championship contender so far this year, but it doesn't seem that Nürburgring is suited to the car. Bit of damage there, or contact at least, and potentially damage as Robin Jahr there, I think, made contact with his own teammate. Yes, the ADAC Motorsport cars, Rene Kirscher and Robin Jahr there, getting into it with each other at turn 1. I'm sure that's going to be discussed in the awning, and probably not favourably so. Rademacher trying to get up the inside there at turn 4 as we cut away to a replay of that incident, and that was a hefty hit to the side of Rene Kirscher from Robin Jahr. That definitely is going to be one for the debrief, isn't it? The two Hyundais changing paint. It's a good thing they have similar liveries. The Karklis car there in second place. He has quite handily gapped Simon Ladniak now. Last time we got a significant look at the battle for second place. Karklis was under a lot of pressure from Simon Ladniak, but the gap is now out to 1.2 seconds. So it seems as though Ladniak is going to distance. We'll have to work hard to get back into the scrap with Karklis. Now we're looking at Rene Kirscher here, and he's lost another position there to Roland Hertner. He's also lost out to Rademacher on that lap as well. I get the feeling that Rene Kirscher maybe walking slightly wounded now. You can see that there is damage on the front of the car. He was giving it a little bit of a shake on the main straight there as well, perhaps trying to feel out whether there is a tow issue or perhaps something more significant with the car after that hefty hit to the side. Thankfully, the passenger side door, of course, these cars built of stern stuff anyway. They are touring cars. We do expect them to make a little bit of contact here and there. Rademacher and Hürtner running 8th and 9th overall. They are also both in the trophy class, of course. Hürtner, the defending champion there. Rademacher, a bit of a touring car star of days gone by in ADAC Pro Car competition from back in the day. Also Belgian championship wins for Rademacher as well, but Rademacher did take the ADAC Pro Car title, which is something Roland Hürtner also achieved back in 2010 with the Engstler team. Funny enough, he now still races with Engstler all these years later. It's been a long-term partnership through multiple manufacturers between Roland Hürtner and Liqui team Engstler. An interesting scrap of champions in the trophy class there for 8th and 9th overall. Of course, those Astras are entered as Holdens, the Maurer Motorsport Astras that you see there on screen in the hands of Rademacher and Michael Maurer, who is a little further back in the order. They could, and perhaps given our geographical location, you'd expect they should be entered as Opels, but they are entered as Holdens, and to my fear, I'm afraid René Kirscher is still slow, and now we can see why. It was a slow puncture for René Kirscher that was slowing him down, and he is now going to have to limp back into the pit lane. And as we see this stricken car head into the pits, the car that made contact with it, that of course is the number 22 of Robin Jarre, has been confirmed as receiving a drive-through penalty. So they've not gone for the penalty lap, they've not gone for anything too mild. A full-on drive-through penalty applied to Robin Jarre. He is going to fall well down the order as a result of that. But René Kirscher, unfortunately, just limping into the pit lane now. We'll see whether they bolt a new tyre on and send it back out. But Kirscher, unfortunately, very much stricken after that incident at turn 1 a few laps ago. Now, we mentioned that Ladniak had started to fall off the back of Jonas Karklees. Well, he's now been caught by Jessica Bachmann as well. Bachmann, last we saw of her, was under a lot of pressure from our new Italian face, that being Marco Butti in the Audi. But now Butti has dropped off the back of the Swede, and she is able to challenge for the podium now that she isn't under quite so much pressure. She will want to get every point on the board that she possibly can in this race. Of course, as we mentioned, 8 points back in the championship, and certainly a driver with potential to be in the championship hunt all season long. Anderson would dearly love to see his own teammate, Simon Ladniak, remain in 3rd place so Bachmann doesn't score any more points. Of course, this does affect as well that collision we saw between the 22 and the 8 earlier on, Robin Jarre and René Kirscher, as much as and I'll just interrupt myself there because we've got side-by-side action. Butti and Patrick Singh there trying to scrap it out for 5th place. Singh not quite able to get past the Audi just yet. He continues to flash the headlights. But one thing that is critical about that incident between the two Rojo Motorsport cars is the fact that there's just 15 points in the team's championship between Liqui Team Engstler, the Hondas, and the Hyundais from the Rojo Motorsport team. So the fact that there is such a tight thing between them in the team's championship, it's going to mean that the telling off is probably going to be extra severe down in that pit awning. So Patrick Singh trying to find a way around Marco Butti here for Elite Motorsport, Italian driver and Italian team, albeit with a German manufactured car. And into the pits has come Robin Jarre. This will be to serve his drive-through penalty then. No surprises that a penalty was applied after that contact, especially given the resulting damage for Rene Kirscher, who has rejoined the race by the looks of it. So he is out there on the circuit. He is just a long way back, I believe, over a lap down, unfortunately, after the puncture and the other damage that resulted from that contact at turn 1 with Robin Jarre. Jarre very slowly now down the pit lane, a mere 50 kilometers an hour. Very, very slow. 31 mile an hour trundle down the pits, but rejoins the race now, and I suspect he will be down in 11th place after that one. You see there that the dueling pairs in 3rd and 4th and then in 5th and 6th are still at it. Bachmann trying to find a way past Ladniak and is yet to do so. We are approaching the halfway point of this half-hour race. Through turn 8 they go then for the 9th time of asking. On the brakes there into turns 9 and 10. Booty really trundling, or really mounting those curbs in the Audi. Clearly taking quite an aggressive approach to those chicanes, maybe taking a feather out of the cap of those who race regularly at the Ennepe circuit. There's lots of chicanes there. Their approach to curbs is just go straight over them. I'm seeing similar philosophies applied there from the Italian Marco Butti. Bachmann then tries to get a better run out of turn 1 than Ladniak, but wasn't really close enough for a move. Karklees has been closing in handily though on Martin Andersson. You see the graphic there. It's gone down by practically 4/10 over the last 3 laps, so it's marginal. But Jonas Karklees is a man on a mission at the moment. The Lithuanian driver in the Nord Pass entry would be elated with a race victory. A bit of an unfortunate round at the Salzburgring. Non-classified race 1, disqualified race 2. So solid points on the board would be welcome, and a big victory trophy would be incredibly exciting on his shelf, I'm sure. He's going to have to deal with Martin Andersson, though, in order to obtain it. Jessica Bachmann, we ride on board with yet again. Still no way through as yet. Kicking up the dust there was Ladniak, the Polish driver. And I'm sure that Team Engstler will have made it plain that they would very much appreciate Jessica Bachmann remaining behind Ladniak, given the points situation, the championship battle. So Ladniak playing the wall here up against Jessica Bachmann, who had a little look to the inside at turn 1. Wasn't quite able to find a way by. But this is one of the best opportunities I think we've seen present itself to Bachmann. Had a little look to the inside at turn 2, thought she'd get the run into turn 3, but she couldn't quite get there. Now through 4. They bounce over the curbs on exit, of course. Common to take a wide line there. I've just noticed that the fuel filler cap has opened on Ladniak's car as well. I'm not sure if that's been the case the entire time, but it did just open. And interestingly, Ladniak was weaving aggressively there on the run through 5 and 6. I wonder if he's trying to get the flap shut. Maybe they've told him about it and said, hey, if you can try and get that fuel filler cap shut, please do so, because otherwise, if they do have an unsealed fuel tank like that, then they will inevitably get called into the pit lane. So hopefully he's managed to get that shut. I think that is what he was trying to do. Bachmann still pressuring at 9 and 10, still not finding a way to get a Hyundai Veloster's width to the inside of the Civic, but this might be the attempt. Oh, contact between the two of them. Ladniak sent sideways there. Jessica Bachmann trying it. Got the nose up the inside, clobbered from quarter panel to quarter panel between the two of them. And Ladniak just about managed to hold on to that, fully sideways. And now under pressure from Jessica once again. just about holding on to third place, or is he? Because Bachmann aggressively tries to take the outside line, not quite able to do it. Simon Ladniak on a mission here to remain on the podium. We're getting a replay of this incident. Big contact there between the two of them. And I must say, Ladniak did very well there. Clearly has the touring car instinct in him, because he did what you're meant to do in a front-wheel drive car when it's sideways, and that is floor it. But while we were looking at the replay, Bachmann is through into third place. It's happened. Where did it happen? We'll have to see. But for now, we know this much. Simon Ladniak is demoted to fourth place. Jessica Bachmann up into the podium positions. She will net more points as a result of that. She won't lose quite as much to Martin Andersson in the championship battle, unless, that is, Ladniak can fight back, and I'm certainly not ruling that out. Bachmann actually took a fairly rough spill over the curbs there at turn 9 and 10. She seems to have lost herself time as a result of that. And here we see a replay at the moment, and Ladniak there just didn't get the drive off of turn 5 at all. That was most bizarre. I've not seen something like that in any form of racing, actually. That was most bizarre. Just taking a look at that again now, got onto the curbs, and as soon as he was onto the curbs, the car just decided it wasn't going to accelerate anymore. That is a bizarre incident, but it's one that's netted Jessica Bachmann a third place, at least for now. Ladniak then down to fourth place. Patrick Singh has moved up into fifth place. That happened just on 2 laps ago now. Patrick Singh has moved up into P5 at the expense of Marco Butti. So the Italian in the Audi has dropped a position. You see there the battle for the lead. It's still Andersson at the head of the order. Oh, and a big moment there for Jonas Karklees, the Lithuanian driver there, just getting a wheel on the gravel, and that nearly sent him into a spin. You can see that he's clearly pushing to the very limits. Both of them are. They're both using as much circuit as they possibly can. Andersson launching it over the curbs at the Vidal chicane. Another lap in the books then. This is the completion of lap number 13 of this race. We've got 9 minutes left to go in this one. And Jessica Bachmann up into third place and has now built 2 seconds of advantage over Simon Ladniak already. So Bachmann seems secure in third place. Meanwhile, Martin Andersson continues to hold on to the lead, but Jonas Karklees is looking to play the spoiler here. Bad enough for Andersson that Bachmann is back up to third place and will therefore net some more points. But if Andersson manages to lose the lead here to Jonas Karklees, this will once again bring down his advantage over Jessica Bachmann. Of course, he will still have a few more points from this race than Bachmann. But given at one point he was leading and she was fourth, if he ends up second and she in third, the championship deficit won't go out by as much as Martin Andersson was once hoping. He still leads for now, though. And speaking in hypotheticals, Karklees is still behind him. Still looming large and looking very threatening in the mirrors. The Nord Pass Hyundai i30N. The i30s are, of course, the car that brought Hyundai to the dance in touring car competition. They have since debuted the Veloster, which we see on the grid here, and indeed the Elantra in other TCR competition. But the i30N, the original recipe, seems to be working best and tasting best for Jonas Karklees at the moment. Still there in second place and looking for a way by Andersson. You get the feeling he's a little bit quicker at this stage of the race. They best laps of the race are both about equal. A 1:35.223, the best lap of the race for Martin Andersson so far, and a 1:35.281, the best lap of the race for Jonas Karklis. So I'm just wondering whether or not Andersson has worn out his tyres, and that is why he's fallen into the clutches of Karklis. Roland Hurtner coming under some pressure from Max Grun in the 13 car. So Hurtner, who had previously been challenging Rademacher for the trophy lead, is now under threat for 8th overall. Rademacher has made up a gap of 4.6 seconds over Hurtner in the Engstler Honda. We are seeing all of the Hondas kind of struggle in the last stages of this race, aren't we? Because Andersson is under pressure from Karklis. Ladniak is now under pressure from Patrick Singh, having already lost a lot of time to Jessica Bachmann. 4.4 seconds Bachmann has already made on Ladniak. And now Roland Hurtner is under pressure from Grun as well, having fallen off of Rademacher. Move for the lead. To the outside has gone Jonas Karklis. Andersson holds on, but it does seem that the Hondas overall are struggling in the closing stages of this race. However, Andersson has not relented the lead, and I'm sure he'll make every effort not to. These two are also the quickest cars out on circuit, with the exception of the 38 of Kai Rozovsky. He has just set his personal best lap, which is quicker than anyone else on track at the moment. Rozovsky down there in 10th place. Maybe he's found some race pace and could be a bit more of a force to be reckoned with come race 2 tomorrow. We're into the final 5 minutes of action here then in the ADAC TCR Germany Race 1. It's been an exciting race. It's been a race where Jonas Karklis has really shown what he is capable of. In the qualifying session, of course, he was 3rd on the grid. He started from row 2, had that brilliant scrap with Simon Ladniak, and managed to get his way through into 2nd place, and is now challenging for that lead. There is Michael Maurer of Maurer Motorsports, just ahead of Vincent Rademacher. Of course, Maurer is a lap down. Oh, real bounce over the curbs there for Max Grun as he continues to pressure Roland Hurtner. Karklis again right in the wheel tracks of Andersson as they come out of the Mercedes arena, out of turn 4. Now to turn 5, where of course the circuit deviates away from the Grand Prix layout. This is the sprint circuit configuration of the Nürburgring, and a circuit that plays host to many a great event across the year, it must be said. This sprint configuration favoured by the Truck Festival that takes place every July, and of course the ADAC GT Masters, among others. Just getting a look there at Maurer, who is staying well out of the way as lapped traffic. Heads up driving from Michael as Roland Hurtner continues to try and hold off Max Grun. And interestingly, Marco Butti has dropped down to 7th place. He lost a position to Rademacher on the last lap, and he is very, very slow indeed. The last lap for Marco Butti was a 1:44.462, and you see there that he's now being caught up by both Hurtner and Grun. So something must be amiss with that Audi, because Marco is losing time hand over fist. He continues on. He doesn't go into the pit lane, but clearly something is amiss with the Audi RS3, and Roland Hurtner now finds himself in an Audi sandwich. Ladniak and Singh having a scrap as well for 4th position. Patrick Singh has been all over the back of this Honda for the last several laps. Can he find a way by into 4th place? He's losing time, of course. He's only got under 2 minutes left to try and make the move. But for now, Ladniak does hold on. And lurking behind them is Rene Kirscher. However, he is not a factor in this. He is a lap down after that puncture earlier on. He, as we are, is observing the 4th place battle. And Patrick Singh has made liberal use of the flash headlights button over the course of this race, making his intent very, very clear indeed. Over the curbs he bounces. Roland Hurtner leaves the door a little open, or rather I should say, sorry, Simon Ladniak holds the door a little bit open, but Patrick Singh couldn't quite put the foot in time. Singh in the slipstream. Ladniak, of course, taking that wide line around the final corner. Got a slightly better run down the main straight. Goes defensive into turn 1. And Ladniak seems to be able to keep those elbows out. On the previous lap, Booty did indeed drop down again. He's now down to 9th place with whatever gremlins that car may have. So Hurtner up into 7th and Gruen up into 8th. That also nets Max Gruen 2nd in the junior class as well. That's quite costly for the Italian Marco Booty. There's Bachmann in 3rd place. She is going a lot quicker than the 2 ahead of her. Her last lap of 136.248. The previous lap for Anderson a 137.0. For Karklis a 137.2. If she had managed to dispatch Simon Ladniak a bit quicker, she may have been able to be a factor in the battle for the lead. So Ladniak did a great many favours to Martin Anderson by putting on such a stellar defensive drive up against Jessica Bachmann earlier on. The top 3 now begin their final lap of the race. The clock has ticked down to 0. We do add a lap. Anderson and Karklis run into turn 1 for the last time, and you can see Jonas Karklis locking up the brakes there. That won't help particularly. Oh, contact between Hurtner and Max Gruen. Hurtner and Max Gruen have clearly gotten into it there. They've ended up off the circuit at the Vidal chicane, and Max Gruen tried to dive up the inside. I think he dived up the inside more to try and avoid Hurtner than make a legitimate move. I think he just misjudged his braking. And Roland Hurtner has ended up facing the wrong way. Goodness me. That has been costly for Hurtner. That's dropped him down outside the top 10. Max Gruen is down to 10th as a result of that contact as well. We shift back, though, to the lead of the race. Just a few corners left to go. Just 2 more opportunities at turns 9 and 11 for Jonas Karklis to try and take this race win. I'm sure he's going to go for it here at the Vidal chicane. He's a little earlier on the brakes than Martin Anderson, as a matter of fact. And it looks as though Anderson may have done enough here. It was an aggressive run through the chicane for Jonas Karklis, but Martin Anderson, the Dane, takes a defensive line around the final corner, and he will cross the line to take another win in the ADAC TCR Germany. Another positive result for the Danish driver Anderson, who has only taken 1 win to this point in the season. So it's race win number 2 for Martin Anderson. Across the line for 3rd place has come Jessica Bachmann. 4th place was just about held on to there by Simon Ladniak. Ladniak had to put on a defensive drive all race long. If it wasn't Bachmann, it was Patrick Singh. And Vincent Rademacher there ended up scrapping with Singh towards the end. Rademacher actually didn't, my apologies, but he did take 6th place in the end. It was a fairly lonely race for Rademacher, actually. I thought he was closer, but that was actually Michael Maurer that I saw on screen as they crossed the line. He was 2 laps down, ultimately, Michael Maurer. So Rademacher came home in 6th place. That is a trophy class win for him. Booty taking 7th place, the 46 car. So he ultimately was vindicated in his efforts to stay out on the circuit, because Max Gruen and Roland Hurtner had their moment. And of course that ultimately led to Booty getting up to 7th place. So Roland Hurtner and Max Gruen had their contact, and Marco Booty, despite a very, very slow car, eventually crossed the line in 7th place. Car 13 has a 30-second penalty applied to his race. Max Gruen receiving a penalty. Unfortunately, though, he didn't cross the line at all, ultimately. He didn't take the flag at the end and will be classified 11th. Martin Andersson, though, takes the win from Jonas Karklees and Jessica Bachmann. Another great result for Andersson, who's consistently getting those points on the board. He continues to extend his championship advantage here in ADAC TCR Germany. Andersson from Karklees from Bachmann are podium. Simon Ladniak takes the junior win ahead of Patrick Singh, and Rademacher takes 6th place. Marco Booty takes 7th. Robin Yar in 8th place ahead of Kai Rozovsky, and Roland Hurtner rounding out the top 10 in that one. Max Gruen will be classified 11th, as we said. Rane Kirscher taking 12th place, and Michael Maurer rounding out our order in that one. So another win for Martin Andersson. Can scarcely believe that it's only his 2nd victory of the year. But it is. His first victory came at Oschersleben in race 2 of the season. Aside from that, he has been largely in 2nd and 3rd place. In fact, he is yet to finish off the podium so far this year. So Martin Andersson proving that consistency can win championships. And 2 race wins doesn't hurt either. Jessica Bachmann, meanwhile, has had 4 wins so far in the season. But when she hasn't won, she has been further down the order. And that consistency, that points scoring and podium scoring, is what's netting Martin Andersson an extended championship advantage at this stage of the season. Jonas Karklees receiving the embrace from Martin Andersson. That's great to see. It was a very entertaining scrap between them, and the last thing you'd want to see is any animosity at the end of it, and thankfully they are all happy with that. Jessica Bachmann taking 3rd place after having to fight long and hard with Simon Ladniak. A good result for her and for ADAC Motorsports. And Andersson, the oft-composed Dane.
Great job.
You see, just listening in. Seems like happy faces all round at the Liqui Moly Team Engstler camp, and with good reason. Look at that championship advantage. It's up to 22 points now in favour of that man, Martin Andersson. It was just the 8 points at the start of the weekend, but of course he got the points for pole position earlier today as well. So the advantage grew this morning in quali, and Martin and his minions, as we saw on the back of that helmet, are now 22 points clear of Jessica Bachmann, who finished 3rd in today's race. The only Hyundai from ADAC Motorsport on the podium. Karklees, though, of course, in the Nordpass entry in the older i30N, managed to secure 2nd place. Martin Andersson held on to the race win despite the fact he was under inordinate pressure from Jonas Karklees behind. Martin Andersson it is who nets the full points and celebrates an ADAC TCR victory once more. Well, the marshals have had to do a lot of this today. That's a very full dustbin, I'll tell you that much. The day's racing has been a physical one here at the Nürburgring, no matter what category we are talking about. And of course, the TCR cars inevitably are not against that either. Touring cars are built for a little bit of contact, of course, and we did see a few hefty hits over the course of that race, and a couple of penalties dished out as a result as well. 20 laps of frenetic touring car racing that was, and we can expect 20 more tomorrow. The ADAC TCR Germany will race at 11:35 a.m. local time tomorrow. And they will also have qualifying in the morning as well. So all happening again on Sunday. And of course, they do get points in the quali as well. So we'll have to see who nets the pole points coming into the next race. We will hopefully see a podium shortly as well for these drivers. And Anderson will get to celebrate his victory here in the TCR race. It is an interesting battle that we've got here between Martin Anderson and Jessica Bachmann in this season. Bachmann, as I mentioned, 4 victories thus far, has really been impressive. The only other driver to take a win this year is Simon Ladniak, who claimed a victory at the Salzburg Ring earlier this year. So just the 3 winners to this point in the season. Jonas Karklis, though, you wouldn't put it past him to claim a win at some point soon, would you? Certainly, he was just moments away from victory in the race we saw today. Less than 3/10 in it after many an attempt from Jonas Karklis up against Martin Anderson.
Ja, sie hat gekämpft, sie hat sie aufs Podium gefahren mit der Startnummer 26.
Here come the drivers then up onto the podium, and the 3rd place driver is the first, and that is Jessica Bachmann with 3rd place, a solid result for the Swede. It's her first time on the podium without taking the win in this season. She's only finished 1st or 5th to this point in the 2022 season, but now she has a 3rd place trophy under her belt. Jonas Karklis taking 2nd place for the Nordpass Hyundai team. He looks happy with that, and Martin Anderson takes the top step of the podium. He is pretty jolly about that result. And a representative from Liqui-Moly Team Engstler joining them on the podium for good measure. There you go, the Danish national anthem rings out. And Wolfgang Wagner Sachs, the DMSB president, presenting the trophy to Martin Anderson there. 2nd place trophy goes to Jonas Karklis, courtesy of Thomas Fries. And Jessica Bachmann presented the trophy once again by Wolfgang. So a good result for both of our championship contenders. Of course, tomorrow they have to qualify again. The grid could look entirely different. Jonas Karklis has been on fire so far this weekend. Let's see if he can get himself onto the front row for the race that is to come. So the gap, as of this morning, was 8 points in the championship, but after pole position and a win for Martin Andersson, that gap is now 22 points. A big step in the right direction for Liqui Honda Team Hensler and the Champagne to put a cap on a great day's racing in the ADAC TCR Germany, and a great day across the day at the Nürburgring as well. There's a full day of racing to come at the Nürburgring tomorrow, including race 2 for the ADAC TCR Germany. If it's anything like the one we've seen today, I think we're in for a treat. Andersson continues to lead the championship.